Hello, my loves, and welcome to your Cosmic Weather Report for the week ahead. And we've got a really quiet start to the week when it comes to the planets and astrology. But I feel like the universe has gifted this to us as this really powerful and profound opportunity to work with where we are at the moment. So we've just come off the back of that really big, powerful Pisces full moon total lunar eclipse. And now as the moon begins to wane and get smaller in the sky, we too are going to be asked to wane. And by that, what I mean is this is going to be a very big week for spiritual communication. So you might remember in last week's report, I asked you to start to put kind of daily rituals in place and those kind of daily things that make you feel good, whether that's yoga or meditation or journaling or whatever it might be for you. And so this is now going to be a profound time for that spiritual communication, for being able to connect to the divine, for being able to receive the answers, the insights and the wisdom. And also, one of the big things about the waning lunar cycle anyway, but particularly when we've had a lunar eclipse, is that it brings this deep opportunity to cleanse, release, shed, let go. So I almost want you to see the beginning of this week like a little bit of a purging cycle in your life. And especially for those with the Northern Hemisphere, as we're starting to draw towards autumn now, we're really being asked to kind of go inwards, back to the wisdom within, back to the earth, back to ground. And in the same way we can start to see the leaves beginning to turn on the trees and the leaves beginning to fall, we too are now being asked to kind of look at our lives and see what it is that we've been holding on to that is old and outdated and not meant to keep traveling forwards with us. And that's been a really big thing of that Pisces full moon total lunar eclipse, especially as we wane down to that second Virgo new moon that's going to happen at 29 degrees of Virgo. So the more that you can clear out your life, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, relationships that aren't working, habits that aren't working, old thoughts that aren't working, behaviors that aren't working, things you keep agreeing to that aren't working, things you keep repeating, cycles over and over again that aren't working, the more you can look at your life with a little reality check, which is what Saturn moving back into Pisces is giving us. Saturn moving back into Pisces is saying, have a really deep, honest, true, responsible look at your life and really ask yourself where you are in your life and if it's where you want to be. And if the answer is yes, beautiful, carry on. This week's going to actually give you opportunity to expand even more into that. But if there are any areas of your life that you're looking at and saying, I've been keeping hold of that for way too long, or I've been believing that for way too long, or I've been waiting for them to change for way too long, or for them to finally choose me for way too long, or I've been waiting for this or that, or if or but or maybe for way too long, it's time to let this go. The more you can do the releasing, the less the eclipses will need to. So the beginning of this week, I want you to really have a good, honest, true look at your life and any clutter that's in your life and begin to clear out the clutter. We now also have all of the planets, all of the outer planets retrograde. So this is a time for reviewing, reflecting, and really also revisiting the past so we can gain the wisdom, the lessons, the teaching from the past, and then deciding what needs to stay in the past so we can begin to get to a new future. So the start of the week, I want you to really, really pay attention to where you are, catch up with yourself, look at, okay, this is my life as it is right now. Is it what you want? Are you where you want to be? And then I want you to look at the clutter and the noise and the things that are holding you back and keeping you maybe stuck in place and keeping you from moving forwards. And those things that you just really need to let go of, those things that now become too heavy to keep carrying forwards with you. This is a week of very big and deep release. The more you can clear at the start of the week, the more you'll then be ready to expand into all the opportunities the beginning of the week wants to give you. And so that's the real advice I want to give you. Our astrological week doesn't start till Friday. So if you can spend kind of all that time up until Friday really clearing out, you will then have more space for all that's waiting to come in. So that's what I really want you to think about. What do you need to clear out to create the space for all that wants to be received? If you've got your hands full of all stuff that you're just holding on to, even though you don't want it anymore, and you're gripping and you're controlling and you're micromanaging it, and you're keeping a tight hold on things, there's no room for anything new to come in. So this week I want you to just open palms, open hands. Okay, I don't need that anymore. Carry that around with me for a little bit too long now. I'm just going to put that down and kind of not bother with it too much anymore. Put some stuff down. Clear some stuff out, and you'll really benefit from it, because we get a beautiful day on Friday. Like, we get a really beautiful end to the week, to be honest. So Friday we get the Sun sextile Jupiter and Mercury sextile Jupiter. So the Sun is how you're here to shine. It's your personality. It's also your ego. It's a lot to do with your soul purpose. It's how you came here to shine your light and be you and be all of you. And Mercury is that planet of communication, mainly communication around our mind, how we receive information, how we move information through, how we communicate, how we share that information. It's all about our communication. Jupiter, planet of expansion, abundance, good luck, good fortune. And so this is going to bring at the end of the week now a profound opportunity for growth, understanding, learning, adventure. But the expansion that's going to happen is an inner expansion. And what I mean by that is, because we're being kind of called inwards with this kind of autumn beginning to beckon, and we're being called inwards because all the outer planets are retrograde, and we're being called inwards because the moon is now waning from that big full moon lunar eclipse down to the new moon solar eclipse. This is a drawing inwards energy, so we can get very clear on who we are. How are you here to shine, and how have you been dimming your shine? And not looking outside then for other people to help you to shine, but looking inside into you. So the expansion is going to be an inner expansion into more self-confidence and more belief in yourself, and more of a knowing about who you are and what you want and what you're here for, and how you can shine when you just begin to allow yourself to be more of you. So it's going to be this big inner expansion into, like, this is who I am. This is who I am. I've been dimming there and hiding there and pretending to be someone because I thought that's what they wanted, and holding on to this thing that's just weighed me down, and it's got me down and it's kept me small. And now I'm ready to expand again. Remember, we've lightened the load at the beginning of the week. So from that lightening the load and taking off the things that are heavy and dragging us down, we've got all this room to expand. With Mercury also being in the mix, your mind's going to be on board. So your ideas, your mind is going to be one of self-belief. So normally if you want to expand into more of yourself or an idea, or you want to create a boundary around something you don't want to put up with anymore, or you want to let go of something in your life, the mind might come in with its doubts and its fears and the what ifs and the buts and the maybes. Your mind is instead going to go, oh my God, yeah, because if you let go of that, there's going to be all the room for this. So there's going to be an understanding around things that you've been confused about or uncertain about, or in that analysis paralysis about that we spoke about last week, where you've been like, where shall I go? There's going to be this. And I really want you to pay attention at the end of the week, particularly if you've worked on lightening your load, of expansion of your mind. Where do I want to be? What do I want for myself and my life? And remember, we're starting to come towards that drawing in stage. So you might not be making it happen right now, but the seeds are planted. The belief happens now. The belief in Look at maybe where you want to be next spring. Where do I want to be by spring next year? Let me expand my thinking into how that could be possible, how I can make it happen. Let me start taking the steps now. Let me find the self-belief and the inner foundations and the confidence to know that I can do that. Let me start to make the connections. Let me start to study the thing. Let me start to ask for the help. Let me start to gain the wisdom. Let me start to gather the resources now that I need to get me there. So there's going to be this big expansion energy. Then on Saturday, we get the Mercury Cazimi. So remember, this is where Mercury and the sun meet in the sky. The name itself means into the heart of the sun. As Mercury and the sun meet, we get clarity, insights, downloads, awareness, like cosmic consciousness. And because Mercury is now direct, Mercury is on the opposite side of the sun to us from our vantage point. So Mercury is now out there in those realms of higher consciousness and cosmic consciousness, gathering all that information from our soul selves and beaming it all down to us. This is also a new seeding point, a new starting point as Mercury and the sun meet. So I want you to also think, especially if the day before you've expanded more into your mind, I want you to really think of this as being a new cycle for you in a new way of thinking. From now, I'm going to believe in myself. I'm going to believe it's possible. I'm going to believe I can do it. Whenever a doubt comes in, I'm going to tell myself all the reasons why I can. I'm going to start a new self-belief cycle where my mind is supportive of me. And every time I catch myself in that negative thought, I'm going to bring it back into one of belief and expansion and hope and abundance and what could go right. So really feeling into an energy of beginning a new cycle with your mind, making friends with your mind and saying, no more am I going to doubt myself and wrestle with kind of doubts and fears and worries. I'm going to choose to believe. I'm going to choose that inner expansion of self-confidence, self-trust, self-belief. And I'm going to get my mind on board with this. And this is then going to be beautifully continued on Sunday when we get the last quarter moon in Gemini. So now we're waning down towards that second Virgo new moon that will be a solar eclipse at 29 degrees of Virgo. And this is the final kind of big release point of the lunar cycle, where we really let go of all that we don't want to take into the next cycle with us. And so Gemini can often find a battle between head and heart. If I've got any Geminis out there watching, that can be one thing that Gemini struggles with, head or heart, head or heart. And remember, we just talked about the day before with that Mercury Cazimi about no longer giving too much energy to the head and the doubts and the fears. This is now about letting go of the battle between your head and heart. Letting go of the battle between your mind and your intuition and beginning to now drop into that deep sense of self-trust and self-belief and self-confidence we've talked a lot about through the week so far. This is going to be an opportunity now to release mental clutter, to release the outdated beliefs and the limiting beliefs and those outdated thoughts and the stories that go round and round and round that you tell yourself on loop over and over and over again. This is going to be a real opportunity now for almost like a cleansing and a clearing of your mind. Because sometimes, regardless of how much you want something, if you've got a powerful mind that's been on loop for years or decades around what might go wrong, why it's not possible for you, why you're not good enough, all of those things, it's a lot harder to make that big shift and change until you get your mind on board. So this is going to be where we get to expand our minds into our souls, expand our minds into cosmic consciousness, expand our minds to receive the insights, the wisdom, the downloads that we then have to act upon. But with an expanded mind and a foundation of self-belief, self-trust, self-confidence, it's a lot more easy to then begin to act upon those things. And really, when you looked at your life at the start of the week and said, this isn't where I want to be, this is, it's a lot more easy then to follow where you want to be when all of you is expanded into the sense of I can, I've got this, I can do this. And this is going to give you a choice point, this last quarter moon between the eclipses. It's going to give you a choice point. Stay where you are with what's known and familiar, or begin to make space for something entirely new to come in. So this is where you're going to get to choose. Do you want to stay in that comfort zone forever, where you do stay stuck and you never do anything because you listen to the noise in your mind? Or are you now ready for that big purge we've talked about through the week, where you release and you let go and you clear the space for something new to come in? As always, I hope this helps, and I wish you a beautiful week ahead.